Hey! Rocking out on this Friday Eve. It's 5:30. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Where you gonna be? Outside on the corner. That's my screenshot. This guy's like looking at me. He's like, what is going on over there? Well, my name is Peter Monn and I'm a vlogger. What do you do for a living? I'm a vlogger. Kind of like Frogger, but a vlogger. Alex is waiting for his friend to get done with, it has like gotten so cold. It's 45 degrees and I'm in shorts. Alex is waiting for his friend to be done with her rehearsal dinner for the wedding that he did not go to. So I was gonna go to Bob Evans and eat dinner by myself. Cause you know it's Pee-Pee and Peter's special weekend. It's Pee-Pee and Peter's special weekend. Don't worry about us, cause we'll be just fine on Pee-Pee and Peter's special weekend. We're gonna have a big party, the three of us, dogs and Peter. Anyway, but he texted me and he was like, hey, I'm gonna get nachos from Champs. Do you want some? And I was like, yes, sir. I almost said yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So we're gonna eat. I said I would much rather, I was gonna go to Bob Evans, but I would much rather eat with my husband before you go to the wedding tonight. So, or go with your friend and then go to the wedding tomorrow. And I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight. I'm supposed to do a YouNow stream while I watch RuPaul's Drag Race, but I don't know that I really feel like doing that, honestly. So I may do a YouNow stream later. I may hang out with my good Judy Tanya. I may just sit and watch a movie at home. I'm watching that 13 Reasons Why on Netflix because I read the book. And, or I may watch Grace and Frankie because I'm catching up while I'm watching season 3. I shouldn't say I'm watching season 3. I'm like half of the first episode in. I love that show so much. And, yeah, so it's a good day. It's a good day in the neighborhood. What's that song? How's that go? Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Okay, I am like peeling so bad, and I love that everybody in the comment section's like, I just hope that you're taking care of your skin. I always take care of my skin, thank you. I didn't really realize I was gonna get as burnt as I did. It was like 78 the day that we were on the beach, and I had sunscreen on, and so I just got completely fried. And what's interesting is that both my mom and my dad tan and get really dark. I don't know, like, Alex and I have those DNA tests we're gonna do. Is that what they're called? Those Ancestry.com, because my dad bought them for us as Christmas presents a couple years ago, and we keep on meaning to do them. I have a feeling I have like some Native American in me or something like that. I don't know, something, because my mom got so dark. Like, she could be out in the sun for like an hour or two and she was just really dark, and I tan the same way. But like, I don't usually burn, which is interesting to me that I burned this time. But I'm not gonna lie, I like a little bit of color. Makes me feel better about myself. So, makes me not look so serial killer-ish, you know? What did somebody tweet out to me today? Somebody tweeted me and said, why are you 60 years old and you sound like an 8th grader? I don't know, I'm not 60, I'm 44, but thank you. Wisdom and experience come with age. Darling, you'll know that when you're not 20 anymore. Is somebody calling me? No, I wish. Nobody ever calls me. I'm a loser. That's not true. They're all calling. Oh, what a lie, what a lie. I'm so obsessed with this lip balm that Zach bought me that I've talked about in it's the root beer one. I want to try another one. I don't know which one I want to try next. Maybe Fanta Orange. Do you want a Fanta? And I have a bunch of books that I want to read, and I have an audiobook that I'm listening to that I love. So I could do that kind of stuff. I kind of actually like that I'm gonna have 2 days to myself. Although he's coming, we're meeting with our tax guy in the morning, so there's that. And then he has the wedding, and then he'll be home Sunday morning, so it's not like a true Pee-Pee and Peter's bachelor weekend. It's Pee-Pee and Peter's bachelor weekend. What are you guys doing this weekend? Are you having fun? Are you laying on the couch, eating chips, watching me? If you're gonna lay on the couch and watch my vlogs, I insist that you get Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Or whatever kind of ice cream that you like. My favorite is Chubby Hubby Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I love that with the pretzels and chocolate inside. God, I love that so much. What's your favorite kind of ice cream? List it below, okay? Is there an ice cream emoji? If there's an ice cream emoji, we should like put ice cream emojis all over my comment sections. You guys are so wonderful to me in the comment sections. I really appreciate it. It makes me feel so loved. Just makes me so happy. Because I love doing this so much. Like, I don't even know that I can express to you guys how much fun this is. I was like putting up yesterday's vlog today and I was like, oh my God, I've been doing this for 87 days. I honestly, like, I don't know that I really had any concept of like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say this, that like I went into it thinking I wouldn't stick with it, but I don't know that I did really think that I would stick with it, you know? And now I've almost done it for 3 months. I mean, it will be, yeah, today's the last day. This is the end of 3 months that I have been vlogging, and that is awfully cool. So, and I'm loving every minute of it, and I love all the people that I meet and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool. So it's been awfully fun so far. And all the people that I talk to, I have like not been great about keeping up with Snapchat the last 24 hours. That's one thing I need to do after I eat my nachos with my husband, is go through my Snapchat and answer all my snaps. I tried to answer some of them in my office today, but do you see I did my hair today? Because I filmed a video and I thought, well, I can actually try to look nice for a video one of these days, so I guess I'll do it today. So I did. This car next to me is trying to figure out what I'm doing and why I'm just talking to the world. It's so funny, like when you vlog and like people pull up next to you and they're like, who's he talking to? Oh, but like they're like, oh, he must be talking on a Bluetooth, is what I always assume that they think. But then when they see the camera, they're even more confused. They're like, oh, secret agent talks to camera. That's right, I'm a secret agent. I'm a secret spy. And I can't tell you my secrets of the world, but I might later, so stick around. So I just got done doing a YouNow stream. And while I was doing the YouNow stream, oh my God, I love YouNow so much. So you guys go get on YouNow, download the application, fan me, so that when I come up and I get on there, you guys can come and watch, because it's so much fun. We have such great talks in there. I really do love it. It's like I really get to like talk. It's like the closest to me getting to talk to you guys one-on-one. And people are so friendly in there. But anyway, and it was really interesting because like the people that watch me like go to other like YouTubers like Amberlynn Reed and just all kind, like, you know, Eugenia Cooney and Matthew Lush, and there's a lot of YouTubers that do YouNow. And it's interesting because somebody said to me tonight, they said, your YouNow stream is like the most positive, like there's no trolling, and that says a lot about you because positivity breeds positivity. And I was like, that is the greatest compliment in the entire world, you know, that like, we're just like this happy, positive place over here. I love it so much. So, but anyway, Melissa was texting me while I was on YouNow, and she was like, thanks for not texting me back, because she texted me earlier in the evening because I took this really long nap tonight before Alex left to go with his girlfriend. And he's been sending me videos all night long of them like being in the hotel room sitting around. Why they couldn't have done that in our living room, I'll never know, but I'm totally fine with it because that means I don't have to be there. I have my own space this weekend for PPMP, this bachelor weekend. But anyway, Melissa's like, I want Wendy's. I was like, I'm in a YouNow stream. She's like, I don't care, I want Wendy's. And I was like, okay, well, when I get off of here, I'll come pick you up. I'm almost done in about 5 or 10 minutes. And she was like, I want Wendy's. Jason went to sleep. And I'm like, okay. I'd asked Tanya for a fountain Coke, but she didn't want one. She's like, I already got one. She got a massage and a fountain Coke. And I'm like, well, that would have been nice. I would have liked to have gone for a massage tonight, but nobody asked me. Anyway, we go to those foot massage places where it's like $30 and they do like a full body massage over your clothes. I love those so much. My husband won't do them. He's like, no, that's cheesy. Why would you do that? I'm like, because it's actually a pretty good massage. Do you guys do that in your hometown? Tanya and I always do that, but then afterwards I'm always so hungry to want to go to the Chinese buffet. Oh my God, maybe I'll do the Chinese buffet tomorrow. I haven't been to the Chinese buffet in forever. The one I go to is called Chinese Dragon. I love it. But really all I eat is lo mein, fried rice, soup, hot and sour soup, egg rolls, and this is the weirdest one because you guys know I don't eat any kind of seafood at all. I like literally cannot get enough of crab meat rangoon, which I don't even really think it's real crab meat, so it doesn't really matter. I think it's all just fake paste, but I love those crab meat rangoon so much. And if you like go to an expensive restaurant and you get them, like they don't taste good at all. You have to go to like some shit Chinese restaurant to get them, right? Let me just show you some of these houses right by Melissa's house that I think are so gorgeous. Like, listen, this is the house that Alex and I love that colonial right there. But then look at this. Alex and I love this house, and this is right by Melissa's house, so. All right, well, I'm gonna go pick her up now. Well, it's late night, and I have my new hat on. I can't get it to curve. It's driving me nuts. I just want it to curve down a little bit, and it won't. And I know it's like a Vans hat, and it's supposed to sit across like that, but I just don't want it to be like that. So I picked up Melissa, and we drove around, and I took her to Wendy's, and she got a taco salad and ate it in my car. And I was gonna record us, but we were kind of talking about some personal stuff that she wouldn't want on camera, so that was that. And then I took her home, and then I laid on the bed with the dogs for a little bit, and then I was like, I'm gonna go to the casino, and I did, and I walked out $40 down, but I still have money, so I had fun. And it is 4:45 in the morning, and I have somewhere I have to be from 1 to 2 tomorrow, and then other than that, I have the whole day free, and I'm really excited, because I'm just gonna kind of hang out. Happy April. Happy April Fool's Day to you. I should do an April Fool's joke. What should my April Fool's joke be? And I'll put it in the thumbnail of this. I'm quitting YouTube. That's what my April Fool's Day will be. I'm quitting YouTube. I wonder if people will actually really watch my vlog though, or if they'll like, you guys will be like, oh, that's not funny. Who'd care? Nobody'd care if I quit YouTube, probably. Oh, I'm not gonna say that. I know you guys would care. That's me baiting, fishing for compliments. I know you guys would care. I'm just being stupid. I got some amazing gifts from the P.O. box tonight. And I wanted to show them on here, but I'm gonna have to show them tomorrow because I didn't do it because I got lazy, so. I've had like the most random songs going through my head all day long. Do you guys ever do that? I have that John Denver song. Did I talk about this earlier? It's been in my head all day long. That leaving on a jet plane, don't know when I'll be back again. When my grandma died, I was 12 years old. And Caroline, my cousin, her boyfriend at the time, Scott, he taught me how to tie a tie for my grandma's funeral. That's how I learned how to tie a tie when I was 12 years old. And I can tie a badass tie to this day, so thank you, Scott. But, I was like, I must have heard that song, like, around that time, because I associate that song with my grandma's death, and I can remember listening to it and just, like, bawling my eyes out, like, thinking about my grandma being gone. If you listen to that song, it's actually a really sad song, and, that was like okay, so my dad's dad died when I was like 5 or 6, and I remember going to that funeral, and my dad, who is an emotional person, it's weird what happened because my dad is an emotional person, like he shows his emotions, he's very affectionate, always kisses my cheek and gives me a big hug, and same with Alex, but My grandfather was in the military, and he also was a homicide detective. So he had a huge funeral, with police officers and the gun salute and the flag and all that kind of stuff. And I remember at the viewing, my dad took me in the bathroom. He was crying for a couple minutes, and then he looked at me and he goes, "This is just between you and I," which is so funny in looking back about that, because my dad's an emotional person, I asked my dad to speak at my mom's funeral, and I said, "Will you tell something funny about her?" And he told this funny story about how when they were living in Chicago, my dad did his medical residency at Northwestern University, and they lived in Evanston. And my mom got all these parking tickets, and so she, took off work. My mom taught at a Orthodox Hebrew school in Chicago called Beit Yaakov, and she took off a day from school so that she could go to court for these parking tickets. And apparently, and my mom was not somebody that picked her battles. And so when she went to court, they were like, I guess the judge said something about, if you're willing to pay for the parking tickets, I'll just let you off, and we won't even have traffic court or trial or whatever. And my mom was like, I took off a day from work and I want my time in court. And I guess she got so belligerent that the judge was like, if you do not sit down, I'm going to put you in contempt of court. My dad told all these funny stories about my mom back in the day. But he got really choked up, and he talked about how that they had this really passionate love affair, and that but when it was over, it was over. And that this really beautiful thing came of it, and that was me. And my dad's just a really awesome speaker, and I think I probably get my storytelling and my weaving of words from my father, who's extremely creative. And so anyway, yeah, but I was thinking about that earlier today. I don't know why. But at my grandma's funeral, who I was really close with, my mom's mom, when I was 12, she's the one I talk about smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee and little Cokes, those little Coke bottles and stuff like that, and playing Honeymoon Bridge and watching Lawrence Welk. And I can still see her apartment in my head. Caroline and I used to stay there on weekends. I remember she had these two little twin beds, and in her bedroom, and Caroline and I would be in one, and my grandma would be in the other one. And she had, do you guys remember, or do you know, if you're older, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're younger, you'll have no clue. But percale sheets, and my grandma had what were called Wonder Kale, and they're literally the softest sheets in the world, okay? And they're not expensive. And I still have some of the pillowcases at home, and they're just I have these ones, they're these little pink flowers. I'll have to show it on the vlog sometime. And it's the softest pillowcase in the entire world. But my grandma had these Wonder Kale sheets, and I remember Caroline and I would lay in this bed just side by side, these little kids, whispering to each other. And my grandma would be like, because she was such a heavy smoker, and we would just hear it. And Caroline would go, I can't sleep because of Grandma. And I would say, I can't sleep because of Grandma either. And we would, so anyway, we would sneak out. And I remember we would sneak out into the living room and get a Coke out of the refrigerator. And my grandma read those Harlequin novels, those ones that one person writes 200 novels. Well, anyway, my grandma read those it's so funny, I don't think of my grandma as a reader, and I sometimes wonder where I get my love of reading from. But my grandma was a voracious reader. She read all the time, always on her couch, which she called a Davenport. Always on the side, she had a book, open and just face down. Do you know what I mean? Open like that. If you open a book like this and you would lay it down, that's how she always had it. And she had an ashtray on a stand. I don't know why I'm remembering all of this all of a sudden, but one of those stands, and it had a glass ashtray that sat in it. And she always had that, and then she'd have a book and then her pack of cigarettes and her lighter sitting right there. And But she had this like metal contraption thing that was like, she would stack all her Harlequin novels in, just like tons of them. And I can see Caroline and I like crawling, and it was like pitch black in her bedroom, and I can remember hearing the cars go by, because the apartment complex where she lived was like really close to, she lived in a house, and then she lived in an apartment complex, and it was called Knob in the Woods. I don't know how I remember that. And but like it was right next to the road, and so Caroline and I would lay there. And I can remember hearing the road, like cars go by on the road, and I thought that was really soothing. And it was like pitch black and like in her room, and then when a car would go by, you could see like the headlights. And I still love that today, like when we're in our like bedroom and like you can see car lights go by. But anyway, God, I'm remembering the weirdest things. And she lived on the first floor, and upstairs, like in 2 different apartments. So there's this dinner theater in Indianapolis, and it's called Beef and Boards, and they do like Annie and Camelot and Sound of Music. It's like musicals, and then they have like a buffet dinner. It's actually really nice. And my grandma upstairs above her were all of like these actors that worked at Beef and Boards, and my grandma would get like free tickets to go to all the shows. And I can remember she would only ever take me to see Annie, and I always wanted to go to all the shows, and she'd say, oh no sweetie, Hello Dolly's too old for you, you can't go see that show. And then what's really weird, I don't know if I've shared this on here or not, but like I was telling Caroline the other day, there's like, I can share whatever I want to share now because my mom and my aunt are both gone. There's no one to protect anymore. But God, I don't know if I've shared this on here or not, but I'm going to share it anyway. I don't really care. It's not a secret to me anymore. So all of my mom's life with me, she would say that she was fostered out when they were younger. She'd say we were fostered out to different families. And I would say, what do you mean by that? And she'd say, we were fostered out to different families. And they called my aunt and my mom called my grandma mother, and they would call their dad daddy. It was bizarre. And like even as adults, like even like up to like last year, my aunt would call her grandfather daddy. So my mom was 4 when her dad died of lung cancer. He smoked like 5 packs of cigarettes a day, and he was a bartender. Interestingly enough, at this historic bar in Indianapolis that they just reopened like 5 years ago, and I've actually been there, and they have the original bar in there, and it's so bizarre to think that my grandfather was a bartender there. My grandfather that I never met was a bartender there, and I supposedly look a lot like him. So anyway, but my mom's dad died when she was 4, and my aunt would have been 6 or 7. So anyway, they were very poor growing up, and my grandmother was a bookkeeper, and she was really good with numbers, my mom would say. Well, my mom always told these stories about how they were fostered out to family because my grandma couldn't support them to live with them, and so like in the summers, like they would go live with family members. Well, when my mom passed away, I was telling my aunt that, and my aunt goes, we were older. And I said, what do you mean? And she goes, well, your mom didn't really tell you the story the way that it went. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, mother and daddy, so weird, isn't it? Didn't have money to, like, okay, I guess back then, which would have been like, my mom was born in 43, so it would have been in the 40s. I guess back then, like, certain apartments that were cheaper wouldn't allow kids. So a lot of their youth, my mom and my aunt did not live with their parents. Well, when my dad, after my mom died, I said to my dad, like a year later, I said, did mom have any secrets? I feel like I've talked about this on here before. I said, did mom have any secrets that she didn't want anybody to know? And my dad was like, no, not really. And he goes, well, one thing. And I go, what was it? And he goes, well, she didn't want you to know because she didn't want you to think poorly of your grandma. And I was like, well, what is it? And he was like, your grandma went to prison. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, your grandma went to prison when they were younger. And I was like, well, when would that have been? And he was like, when they were little kids, that's why they went into foster care. And I said, no, they were fostered out to families. And my dad looked at me and he goes, no, they were in foster care. And I go, what are you talking about? Okay, so now I'll never know the foster care story because they're gone, and so we'll never know when they were in foster care. But finally, I confronted my aunt about it, and I was like, I want to know the story about my grandma and what all that happened. She goes, well, your dad got it wrong. And I said, what do you mean, and Aunt Kathy? And she was like, Grandma didn't go to prison when we were younger. She was like, we did go and live with families because they didn't have the money. Mother didn't have the money to take care of us. And so we went and lived with people. And she said, and there's questions about maybe stuff happened to my mom when she was younger. My mom was very afraid of people her entire life. And my mom never remembered anything before age 6. Like, she would have bits and pieces of memories of things, but she didn't remember a lot. But anyway, my aunt said, Grandma went to prison when I was in college, and your mom was in high school. Okay, well, this is what's really weird. So my mom, oh God, this story has gotten so weird, and you guys are like, why are you telling us this? My mom used to talk, okay, so when summers in college, my mom would go to Hyannisport, which is by Cape Cod, and she would work at this hospital. And she talked about this guy that she became friends with. I can't remember what his name is now. But anyway, and she was like, oh, there's letters in the basement. You'll find them when I'm gone someday. I've saved them for you. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah. And she was like, he was gay, and he loved Judy Garland, and he would just say things like, what would we do without Judy, and all this kind of stuff. Well, and I don't know who that person is that she invented in her mind, but I found the letters, and the letters were a romantic affair that my mother had while she was in Miami, staying at the Delano Hotel, which was brand new, for an entire summer with my aunt. They stayed at this hotel in Miami. My mother said she had never been to Miami in her entire life, which is so weird to me. And we actually, last year, we walked by this hotel, and I told Alex, I said, I want to go in here, and I want to see where my mom spent the summer. So I'm out to lunch with my aunt, and I was like, how did you guys afford? So, okay, it comes out, my grandma went to prison for embezzlement, okay? She embezzled a large sum of money from the company that she was working for, which is why she went to prison. My aunt at the time was 20. She became the guardian of my mother, who was in high school. This is just the story is so out there. So my mom, and I said to my aunt, I go, well, how did you guys afford to go to Delano and Miami and all this kind of stuff and fall in love with all these guys? And she goes, well, probably on grandma's stolen money. Hell, I don't know. I was like, Aunt Kathy. She was like, well, Peter, I don't know. She was like, I don't remember, it was so long ago. So, flash forward, Peter finds out all this stuff, right, about his family and his grandma that he adored, that she was going to prison, jailbait. I love you, Grandma, but I just didn't know. So we're sitting over at my aunt's house after my aunt dies, and we're all sitting there, and it's Caroline, my cousin Shannon, all these people, and we're sitting around talking. You guys, I put it on the vlog. You saw it, right? If you've been watching. We're all sitting around there that night, and we're talking about that, and Caroline goes, no, I remember Grandma going to prison. And I go, what are you talking about, Caroline? Grandma didn't go to prison when we were alive. Grandma went to prison when my mom was in high school and your mom was in college. And Shannon goes, no, I remember that too. We were younger. And I go, what are you talking about? And my grandma went to prison twice for embezzlement. My grandma went to prison twice for embezzlement. And I have Googled the shit out of it trying to find it, any kind of history or facts about it, and I don't know, it's not listed anymore. I'm sure, why would it be, but. So. And my dad, who's not even, related to them, said to me, he goes, your grandmother was such a good woman, she would have done anything for your mother and her aunt and your aunt, and that's why she did it, was to financially make sure they were always taken care of. I don't know, it's all a bit very bizarre to me. I just can't believe I have a grandma that went to prison twice for embezzlement. And then it's like so funny because my grandma always wore like pants and like a blouse and just smoked. I mean, she looked like Betty Davis. She smoked like a chimney, right? And I can totally just like straight up see her in prison, like smoking like a chimney in prison, Indiana women's prison. My grandma, who read Harlequin novels and smoked. It all makes sense to me now, like all of it. Isn't it weird how you don't know parts of your history? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't know parts of your history. Isn't that just so bizarre? I told my dad, I said, you better not have any secrets that I don't know. He goes, Peter, you know all my secrets. He was like, I'm not that exciting. I don't have that many secrets. I just don't, I can't believe my mother never told me. We were so close. And I said that to my dad, and my dad almost started crying. He goes, Peter, he goes, your mom and Kathy were so afraid that you and Caroline would think poorly of your grandma, and they never wanted you to think poorly of. And I said, Dad, I said, I would never have thought poorly of Grandma. I said, but it explains a lot. I mean, it really does, you know? So anyway, but what's really weird about it in retrospect, and Caroline, I just told her, we were talking about this the other day, and Caroline, my cousin, doesn't remember this at all. So Caroline and I are only children on my mom's side, each of us. I said, do you remember when Grandma took us to Raggedy Ann and Andy, the movie? And I remember she said to us, I did share this on here because I was talking about this. She said to us, you won't be seeing me for a while. And I didn't understand it. Well, now it all makes sense. That would have been when she went to prison. So the message should be, tell your family the truth. There's no reason for secrets. I mean, I didn't need to know at 5 what was going on with my grandma, but, you know, maybe at 25, maybe at 35, I think that I could have handled the truth if my mom had told me, you know. My grandma had been gone for a long time. I wouldn't have thought poorly of her. And I can't believe that my mom straight up looked right at me and lied and said she'd never been to Miami when she spent an entire summer there. I have pictures in my basement of her on the beach in Miami. I mean, it's so surreal to me that it's like my favorite place in the entire world. And I never got to talk to my mom about it because she said she'd never been there. It's so weird. God. Isn't this just the weirdest shit ever? I should write it as a book, shouldn't I? So many stories like that from my growing up that like doesn't, I mean, not lies, like not straight up lies, but like weird stories with my family that you wouldn't even believe. You'd be like, is this for real or did you make this up? Like, nope, it's all real. It's all of us. One thing that's really funny is when I was in high school, my parents, like looking back for being so academic, did not care about my grades at all. I don't remember ever bringing a book home, and I don't remember ever showing my report card to them, ever. Like, I just don't at all. And my dad, who is a physician and went to law school before he went to medical school, and my mom, who had a master's degree, I mean, you would think they would care about their kids' education, right? They totally didn't. They didn't. They just never asked. I don't remember ever, like, them asking anything about it, but I do remember being in high school. I think I was actually a freshman. And my mom was like, one class that you will take is typing. And I was like, Mom, and she was like, nope. She was like, you'll always have it to fall back on if you ever need a job. Like, what are you applying for? Typing, stenographer. She was like, you'll always be good at typing. I literally, let me just tell you, I got an A+ in typing. I can type 120 words a minute to this day. I probably can type more than that now. When I used to work in treatment, we would have to like chart on the computer and stuff. People would die. They'd be like, oh my God, how do you type so fast? There's a little unknown fact about Peter that you don't know. I type like nobody's business. I'm like, I am like the fastest typer in the world. Alex cannot believe it. What's another little unknown fact about me that you don't know? I shoot pool. I'm like a total pool shark. People never believe me, and I'm always like, well, let's go play. And then we play, and I beat their ass, and I'm like, I told you. I love it. I'm also an amazing bowler. All the things that you would never guess about me, I'm like an amazing bowler. These are like my proudest things. I'm an amazing bowler. I used to have really long hair, and I can tie hair wraps like hippies. So I used to do those for everybody back in the day. Let's see, little other unknown facts. I sucked my thumb until I was 16. Let's see. I'm getting really honest in this vlog today. I'm like telling things that don't need to be out there. What's another one? Little unknown facts about me. I used to know all the cheat codes to Pac-Man at the arcade. I used to only eat ice cream cake for my birthday, bubblegum. Lollipop, lollipop, oh, lollipop. Did you guys watch the trailer for it? Oh my God, I couldn't even finish watching it tonight. Okay, let's get off of all that stuff. I was getting real serious about all kinds of stuff. Did you guys like that, finding out a little bit more about me? Oh, you're so disingenuous. I talked about my grandma going to prison twice, okay? I don't want to hear another person in my comment section ever say that I'm a liar and that I'm fake, okay? Go find another channel where they're talking about grandmas in prison, because it ain't happening. I'm telling you, that's the truth right there. The truth of the nature, like my mom used to say. Okay, so I tried to watch that trailer to it tonight, and I was at the house by myself, and I knew Alex wasn't coming home because he's staying with his friend Sarah, and I was like, I can't watch this. I mean, it looks so scary. I was like, I cannot watch this. I'm terrified, right? And then I get in my car, and I'm like, I have it over here. I'm listening to, because I started watching it today at home, and I'm like, at the end of the second episode, 13 Reasons Why. Oh my God, that book by Jay Asher. And what's really interesting about this, I just want to say, is that I posted it on my BookTube channel that I was excited about the show, and I got a lot of negative responses because people were like, I did not care for that book. I thought it glamorized suicide. That was not my take. And I'm very, very sensitive to issues of suicide. Having worked with teenagers, I've had several, past patient suicide. And the correct term, so that you know, in the mental health field, is to suicide, okay? So when somebody comes to me and they say, what does that mean? They suicide, it's commit suicide. No, it's suicided. You can look it up. You can become educated in the field of mental health. So, because every time I talk about it in my channel, somebody wants to come for me and say that I don't know what I'm talking about. And then one of my best friend's mothers suicided too, and it devastates lives. It just really does. And really a weird thing is, like, having been somebody that works with teenagers that are suicidal and have a lot of suicidal ideation, I can honestly say, and I was talking to my cousin Caroline about this too, I almost kind of wonder if it's a genetic thing. Like, I have never in my life, ever, and I don't like wear this as a badge of glory, I just don't connect with it. I have never in my life felt suicidal. It has never been an option to me, ever. Like, and at the pits of hell of my addiction, I almost sometimes look back thinking, it surprises me it wasn't an option. And I think that's what terrified me so much to finally get clean, because I was like, this is what my life is going to end up looking. I mean, I wasn't afraid to die, but I didn't want to die, But anyway, so I'm very sensitive to those issues, and have been very educated. And I also had one of my very close friends suicide, and very close friends. To this day, I'm still devastated about it. And I think the book shows how people impact each other's lives and how things, can be. I think it's an educational book. I don't think it glamorizes suicide at all. And but you guys should go watch it. The show is 13 Reasons Why. It's on Netflix. It's exceedingly well done. It's really, really well done. Really well done. And you don't have to read the book to watch this. It's a series. It's 13 episodes, and it's just, I'm really impressed with what they've done with this book. So that's what I'm into, and Grace and Frankie right now. So that's kind of the flip side of that. But did you guys like this tonight? Did you like finding out a little bit more about me? Do you care? Do you not care? Are you bored to tears? I love when people say, I just listen to you while I go to bed at night. I love your voice. It's so soothing. You guys have no idea how much that means to me. It like really means the world to me because I've hated my voice my entire life. And for people to say, like, I love your voice, I fall asleep to it, is like, honest to God, one of the biggest compliments I've ever received. So, anyway, I love you guys. And I hope you're having a wonderful April Fool's. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not quitting this channel. So that was my April Fool's joke. Gotcha. Excuse me. I love you guys. Bye.